Now, boxing fans across the world are delighted at what is being hailed as one of the greatest cards in the history of the sport. It was unveiled yesterday as part of the Riyadh season in Saudi. It will take place on February the 22nd. It's headlined by the rematch between Artur Beterbiev and Bivol, just a few months on from their incredible dust-up in October. That fight alone would have been enough to satisfy boxing fans, but this time they've gone all out as the undercard is incredible. It includes Daniel Dubois defending his IBF heavyweight title against Joseph Parker. Joining us for more on this now is Head of Queensbury, Frank Warren.
Morning, Frank.
Morning, chaps. How are you?
Well, listen, Frank,
we're pretty good,
we're
mate.
in top form. We're in top. We've kicked the hornet's nest for this 3 p.m. kickoff, but that's not for you.
Yeah, what's going on? All the old traditions are going.
I knew you'd be in our camp, mate. I knew you'd be in
Frank.
I tell you what,
I'm
Frank.
with you on that.
I tell you what, I'm going to say to you. It seems maybe about 12 months ago, maybe 18 months ago, where myself and a lot of boxing fans were moaning, with some justification that has to be said, about not getting to see the top fights. The top fights weren't happening. Boy, that theory's been put to bed, hasn't it? This looks amazing.
Well, I said to you at the time, when the Riyadh season was announced, when HE got involved, this is going to be a game changer. But even I didn't realise what a game changer it's going to be. And I mean, this card on the 22nd is something special, Ali. When you look at it, I mean, every fight on there is a magnificent fight. I mean, I've never seen a card like it. It's so spectacular.
What would your pick out be? Obviously, the big one at Beterbiev and Bivol, the rematch.
Well, it's a great fight. The best two light heavyweights in the world. Last time round, it was an excellent fight. They displayed all their skills. It's a rematch. That's going to be a great fight. But I love the Daniel Dubois and Joseph Parker fight.
Yeah.
You know, Daniel's come into his own now. He's shown what he's all about. He's suddenly hit maturity, not just physically, but mentally. And he's in with a live opponent and someone who, comes to fight and is on a bit of a roll. He's resurrected his career. So I think that's going to be great. And then you've got that from a British point of view. You've got Dubois in there with Callum Smith. Yeah. That's a cracking little fight. And then you go down the cards. You look at Hamza Shiraz, who's with us. He's challenging Adames for the world title. Cracking fight. Really a spectacular fight. Then you look at the American involvement. Shakur Stevenson's on there against Schofield. Ortiz in there against Madridov. I mean, these are real good quality fights. And then you top it off, but add into it Zhang against Caballero. What a cracking heavyweight fight that is. This is spectacular.
Well, it's fantastic for the sport, isn't it, Frank? In the sense of, in recent times we've had a lot of, YouTubers against 50-year-old plus fighters. I think so to have a proper card is really important for boxing.
Well, I agree with what you're saying there, but I've got to be honest. The YouTubers or whoever they may be, and old guys, ex-fighters, great ex-fighters getting in the ring. That's not boxing. That's their idea of boxing. That is not boxing at its best. This is boxing at its best, and there should be no one should be comparing it. I understand why they do compare it, but there shouldn't be, because how can you talk about a guy who's 58 years of age fighting? You're ex-footballers, but what would you feel about if Gazza said that he was coming back and he was going to play for Spurs next week? Mind you, they probably need a bit of help. But what would you think of that?
Stop it, Frank.
Couldn't resist it, could you? Frank, listen, see a card like this, right? I mean, how much does that encourage people to go?
Well, look, they'll go for it. It's going to be that'll be sold out. The last one, there's a really good atmosphere there. It's building. The Saudi population have become really good boxing fans. They go along to these fights now. They're supporting. And anybody who's gone from over here will tell you that the atmosphere is good. And more importantly, there are more people travelling and going out there and seeing it. It's become a destination. Years ago when the fights were on in Vegas, people eventually made their way out there. And it wasn't an easy place to get to back then. There was no direct flights. And it was in the desert, the same sort of, same mentality that people had, but it then become a major destination. You go to Riyadh season, all what's going on there. I mean, last week they had the Dior fashion show. They had Celine Dion, what's her name? Celine Dion singing there, J-Lo. every week, nearly every day, there's something spectacular happening. They've got a massive world-class dog show on. They've got equestrian events. There's 6v6 tennis. It's become a destination, and people better get used to it.
Frank, you've also got a huge card coming up this weekend. Your Magnificent 7 card. Tell us about that.
Well, again, it's a quality event. Great, mostly British fights, all British fights, 7 title fights. The main event on there is Brad Paul from the West Country. I think he's the first British champion from down there for, probably 30, 40, 50 years, whatever it is. A long time, and he's fighting Denzel Bentley, and the winner of this will fight for the world title for the another version of the middleweight world title, and then the winner of that will fight the winner of the fight that takes place in Riyadh between Adamiz and Hamza Shearer. So if Hamza comes through and one of the Brits come through, it'll be another brilliant British bust-up. Smashing,
Frank. Couple of big dates to look forward to. Nice to talk to you, mate.
Thanks, Frank. All the best.
Thanks, fellas. God bless. Bye.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.